Today we will tell the story of a state that at first glance should never have succeeded. This country has no valuable natural resources, no large-scale industry, no fertile land for agriculture. And yet primary and secondary education here is compulsory and entirely free. And the literacy rate of the population stands at an absolute 100%. The state does not even print its own currency. Unemployment holds at just 2.5%. There is no airport in the country, no railways either, and there are barely 200 kilometers of paved roads across the entire territory. There has never been an army here, nor any military establishment. The legal profession of advocacy is formally prohibited. The crime rate is among the lowest on the planet, just 154 offenses per 100,000 inhabitants. Postal services are provided free of charge to everyone without exception. In terms of tourists per resident, the state ranks second in the world, yielding only to Vatican City. Average life expectancy here reaches 83 years, the second highest figure in the world after Japan. This longevity is aided by crystal clear air and a mild yet sun-generous climate, around 300 sunny days a year. Quality healthcare, which is free for all employed citizens and their families, also plays a significant role. Any commercial transactions within the country may be conducted in any currency, since currency regulation as such simply does not exist. The majority of the territory is taken up by mountain ranges, forests, rivers, lakes, and alpine meadows. Nature here is protected with particular care, and its beauty is incomparable. Any visitor feels calm and at ease. The service is impeccable, the locals are friendly, and the atmosphere itself is imbued with culture and order. One simply does not want to leave. This is Andorra. Finding this state on a map at first attempt can be challenging. The tiny territory of 468 square kilometers is literally squeezed between two giants, Spain and France, each of which surpasses it in size by thousands of times. But despite its modest scale, this small country strikes and captivates the eye from every angle. People here live long lives. An army is in principle unnecessary. The climate is mild, and life itself flows unhurriedly and in measured rhythm. The locals are reserved and do not seek to stand out, even in their choice of clothing. They seem to dissolve into the stone landscapes, and the unassuming city streets are free of garish advertising and come alive with tourists only toward evening. And yet, in the opinion of shopping connoisseurs, it is precisely here that one can find the finest goods at the most attractive prices anywhere in Europe. The state is officially a duty-free trading territory, so it is no wonder that in the local boutiques, items from well-known brands cost 20 to 40% less than in comparable shops across the rest of Europe. Andorra became especially prominent over the past half-century. In the 1960s, at the peak of the military and nuclear race of the Cold War, American hippies came to appreciate the long-standing traditions of neutrality and non-militarization of this Pyrenean principality. The reason lay in the figures. The country spent just $4.90 per year on military needs, and unlike the great powers, remained an absolutely safe place. It was precisely during this period that residents experienced a colossal leap in living standards, thanks to profitable trade, tax haven status, smuggling flows, and growing tourism. It was then that the first ski facilities also began to appear. The demand for labor generated by economic growth triggered a wave of immigration from Spain and, to a lesser extent, from Portugal. Over time, the number of newcomers came to exceed that of the native population. Today, the Principality of Andorra lives primarily from tourism, favored by its very geographical position. Snow-covered slopes are dotted with ski resorts, and the capital, the world-famous city of Andorra la Vella, is renowned for both its skiing runs and its golf courses. The absence of most export duties keeps prices low, which fuels shopping tourism. Attractive prices draw not only neighbors from Spain and France, with which Andorra shares borders, but also visitors from across Europe. Every year, this micro-state of 467 square kilometers with a population of just 90,000 receives more than 10 million tourists. By this measure, the country can rightfully be called one of the most visited in the world. For the past 10 centuries, Andorra has known no serious military conflicts, so the need for its own army simply fell away of its own accord. Police forces are quite sufficient to resolve the rare domestic disputes or incidents involving overly exuberant tourists. Accordingly, professions such as prison guards and lawyers have also disappeared for lack of need. The state is associated simultaneously with France and Spain. While formally remaining independent, it delegates part of its authority to its two neighbors, from whom two co-princes are nominally appointed, the President of France and the Bishop of the Spanish city of Urgell. In practice, however, the country is governed by a unicameral parliament, the General Council of the Valleys. Andorra is not a member of the European Union, and responsibility for its external security rests with Spain and France. The population of the country today is divided roughly equally between native residents and settlers. The latter are attracted by low taxes and high confidence in local banks. The significant proportion of former Russian citizens who have settled in Andorra is eloquently attested by the fact that every local bank employs Russian-speaking staff. The comfortable living conditions also play an important role for those considering relocation to this compact state. Warm climate, the purest mountain air, and as a consequence, one of the highest life expectancy figures in the world, those same 83 years. The tourism sector generates 80% of the country's gross domestic product and remains the main source of state budget revenues. The ski season, which runs from the beginning of December to mid-April, is in greatest demand. In summer, travelers are drawn by picturesque mountain scenery and medieval architectural monuments. In the capital alone, Andorra la Vella, there are around 40 hotels and approximately as many spa centers. The development of the tourism industry, which the authorities began actively promoting in the mid-20th century, attracted foreign investment to the country and spurred a construction boom, and with it a rise in land prices. Curiously, despite all this, Andorra still has neither airports nor railway connections. Movement is possible only by road transport. The first road connecting the country with Spain was built in 1911, and with France in 1933. If one looks more closely at the country's economic model, it becomes clear that libertarian principles lie at its foundation. This is precisely what has turned modern Andorra into a genuine European tax oasis, where the banking sector plays a significant role in the economy. For the same reasons, trade in luxury goods flourishes here, and the duty-free zone status allows goods to be purchased at a discount of 25 to 40% compared to the price of similar products in Spain or France. And again, we return to the theme of tourism. Most foreign visitors come to Andorra for just one day from neighboring France and Spain, specifically for advantageous purchases, taking advantage of considerably lower prices. The most noticeable discounts apply to precisely the most popular product categories, and this has become the main reason for the flourishing of shopping tourism. According to travelers who have been there, the modern district of the capital, New Andorra la Vella, resembles a giant duty-free shop more than an ordinary city quarter. The question of currency deserves separate attention. Formally, the country is not part of the Eurozone, yet it uses the euro on its territory, while having no national currency of its own whatsoever. One might say that Andorra has effectively joined the Eurozone by fait accompli, without asking the opinion of other European states and without conducting any official negotiations. Meanwhile, any transactions on the territory of the country may be concluded in any currency, since currency control does not exist as such, and a special tax regime makes it possible to find convenient solutions for virtually any situation. In most small shops and restaurants, dollars are accepted without question. Credit cards of leading global payment systems work everywhere, and travelers' checks are widely used as well. The country's complex geographical position, combined with the need to provide remote banking services and stable communications for tourists, has resulted in exceptionally well-developed telecommunications infrastructure. By the end of 2010, practically every home in the country had been connected to fiber optic internet with a minimum speed of 100 megabits per second. Private ownership of land, pastures, forests, and mineral resources does not exist in Andorra. All of this belongs either to the state or to communities that have distributed arable and grazing land among private individuals since the medieval era. Revenues from the sale of meat and pharmaceutical goods traditionally flow directly into the treasury of the principality, forming one article of the state budget. Speaking of industry as such in relation to Andorra, there is practically nothing to say. Only a handful of small enterprises operate here, playing no significant role in the country's economy. Iron ore deposits, which in the past allowed the development of primitive metallurgy, were practically exhausted by the end of the last century, and the country now has to import metal products from outside. One of the most notable branches of the local economy remains electricity generation. Compact hydroelectric power stations have been built on the small but swift rapids rivers throughout the country, supplying electricity to nearby villages. The most powerful of these, by local standards a rather impressive station of 26.5 megawatts, is located in the city of Les Escaldes on the Valira River, and part of the energy it generates is exported to Catalonia. In recent years, crafts associated with the growing flow of foreign tourists have seen notable development. Souvenir production is in great demand. Local varieties of grape wine, bottled in distinctive wide-necked, narrow-spouted glass vessels known as porrons, are particularly popular with visitors, as are giant cigars up to half a meter long and weighing nearly a full kilogram. Speaking of Andorra's current prosperity, it is worth remembering that for many centuries, from 1278 onward, this was a closed and poor state whose inhabitants scraped by on modest agriculture and equally modest smuggling trade. A natural question arises: how does a tiny mountain country that rid itself of the last vestiges of feudalism only in 1993, with no oil, gas, or diamonds, manage not merely to stay afloat, but to steadily increase its prosperity, with a gross domestic product of around $50,000 per person? There were simply no rich natural reserves here that could be squandered or plundered. They did not exist from the outset. And yet today's standard of living in Andorra noticeably surpasses that of neighboring Spain, which once possessed vast colonies across the globe. How and why this tiny principality managed to achieve such a result? Perhaps the entire secret lies in the people themselves, their culture, and their centuries-old traditions.